What is going on, team? It is your friend Araucaria here, and today we are going to show you guys how to make a modern super saw in Serum 2, and I'm going to show you guys what my opinion of a super saw is when you're doing your sound design in Serum 2. So, to begin, we're going to open our Serum 2 VSC3 plugin, and we're going to enable oscillators A, B, and C, and we're going to enable our sub. And then we'll turn on our filter or enable filter one. We'll make sure we turn on all of or apply filter one to all four of the wavetable generators or sound generators. And what we want to begin with is put oscillator A up one octave, oscillator B will remain at octave 0. Oscillator C will be put to octave 1, and then the sub will be at -2 octaves, and then we want to put the filter to a MG low 24. We want to increase the cutoff to maybe like 2500 hertz. And then we can add a little resonance to like 30. Put the drive up and the fatness up. And then we want to add our unison and put 9 voices of unison on all of our saws. And then we're going to see how that sounds like to begin with right there. Now the saws don't really sound that good because the attack is too high up. So effectively speaking, the attack is set to 1 milliseconds right now, basically. So how do we edit that? So if we want to edit that and make our saws sound a little bit more smooth, if you will, we'll route envelope 1 to oscillator A, and then we'll make the level parameter look like so, and then we'll add the attack parameter to 50 milliseconds, and then envelope 2 will be 100 milliseconds, and then we'll route envelope 2 to oscillator B, and then oscillator C, and the level. And then we want to make the oscillator B level parameter look like that. Make the level parameter look like that on oscillator C, and then make the level parameter look like that on the sub. So we have effectively fixed the problem, and if we want to see what the resulting sound is on that, we can play some notes. Okay, so that sounds pretty good, but we are not quite done yet because we would like to add more effects and really make the saw sound clean. So what we really need to do, we can just click on, put the LFO to the envelope as well if you want to. We're actually not going to use the LFO this time around, so that's not really necessary either way. And then what we want to do is go to the FX modules, and we want to add chorus. We want to add the compressor. We want to add the convolve tool that performs the convolution operation. And we want to add the reverb plugin. And then probably what's going to change the sound the most out of everything we do here is going to be the compressor, actually. So if we go to the compressor and go to multiband, and then set the gain to 8. It'll sound like this. Okay, so that sounds a lot better. We can also put the ratio at 2 to 1. We can put the attack to 50. You can put the release to 250 as well to try and fine tune the compressor. Okay, so what else can we do here? We can add a little bit more chorus on there. What does that sound like? So I think we're still sounding too dry here, I think is the real problem. So maybe add some dampness and add some width and some size on a reverb tool, and then maybe put that at like 50%. What does that sound like? Okay, so the sounds a lot better, and we can also add one more subtle addition. We can go to Convolve Factory, Long, and then L90 Hall, Deep Blue, and then we can see how that sounds. And that's pretty much it, you guys. Our sound is about finished, and that's a good rough draft for your modern super saws in Serum 2. You guys saw me go through the full workflow over here. You can even add the LFO tool as well. I typically don't on super saws because I think it just doesn't enhance the sound, but you can add the LFO tool to the level or other parameters, just like we added the envelopes to the level of the saws. And what we want to show you guys now is the final draft of the AP Super Saw and the settings on that. So we can go to AP Saw 2 Serum 2. And if we go to this effect, this is the settings that we put everything at. And this is sounds probably the best. So, once again, that's very similar to what we made previously, but this has some very fine-tuned details. So, if you guys want to reference AP Saw 2 Serum 2, this preset we have, this is the settings on the first page. We didn't edit anything on the mix, and then the settings on the FX modules all look like this. So we added reverb, chorus, compressor, and the convolve tool here. And this is what all the settings look like here. So that concludes our sound design tutorial, and you guys all have a wonderful day.